Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and we got a lot of news and rumors to cover. Tom Brady spoke about his future for the first time since losing to the Dallas Cowboys. Might surprise you what the man was saying. Josh Jacobs, should they franchise or transition tag him? We'll talk about that. I got an NFL mock draft reaction, and then right before I was getting the show ready to go, some trade rumors from Jeremy Fowler around Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller, but that's literally at the very, very end of today's show. Now, guys, I told my boss this week I want to try to get to 132,000 subs. We need 246 more. I need to get there before we go live for both of our watch parties on Sunday. So if you bleed silver and black, if you support the show, hit the subscribe button or tell some of your Raiders buddies, hey, there's this guy. He does Raiders videos for free every single day. He would appreciate your support. We are family after all, so hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about Tom Brady because that's basically what we talk about every freaking day on this show anymore. On Monday, Tom Brady spoke about his future for the first time since the loss to the Dallas Cowboys, and this is what Brady had to say. If I knew what I was going to do, I would have already done it. I'm taking it day at a time. And Brady obviously has been asked this every day. He's probably been being asked this for weeks, probably months at this point. And I get it. He's probably just kind of getting fed up with the whole situation right now. So you saw that. Brady dropped an F-bomb. I remember when I showed Chugs this morning, he was like, really? Brady said that? So I want to know from all y'all watching the show right now, what's your one-word reaction to Brady's response? Dropping a few F-bombs. I want to know down in the comments section, especially for all y'all that are watching this live right now, my one-word reaction from Brady was frustrated. You can tell that he's frustrated with the whole situation, and he's probably still a little bit angry about how that game ended going up against Dallas. He didn't play well, right? He's also frustrated because he's asked a question that he can't answer right now. Believe me, I know firsthand. When you get asked something over and over and over and over again and you still give the exact same response, it's frustrating. Now, I will say this is what PFT had to say on Brady's angry response. There can be real consequences, even though tampering often happens without scrutiny or consequence. Last year, the league took a first-round pick from the Dolphins for tampering with Brady and former Saints coach Sean Payton. Brady surely doesn't want to be responsible for causing more teams to lose first-round draft picks. And absolutely, nobody wants to be the person that loses first-round picks. And imagine if Brady was tampering with the team. What if that team was the Raiders? And what if the Raiders lost their first-round pick? I know a lot of y'all would be really upset. So personally, I think Brady right now, he is a little bit angry. I also think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because everyone is saying, he's washed up. He's not the same guy. And I can also imagine everyone's like, dude, Brady left his fiance or his wife, his kids to go play for football again. That's got to be a really, really frustrating thing. And I think Tom Brady right now is playing with a chip on his shoulder, and according to Jeremy, apparently he's playing with a few chips, and I don't know. I guess they're nacho cheese Doritos. I'm more of a Cool Ranch kind of guy. You guys can let me know which one you would pick. In terms of the Brady Raiders discussion, I know that Ziegler and McDaniels, they got to win this season. And I've said it 100 times on the show. I guarantee you that they're willing to bet on Tom Brady. Even more than that, though, I bet they're willing to bet on a motivated Tom Brady. So my question to everyone out there is, Brady, 45 years old, going to be 46 in the beginning of August. Is he washed? Not does he wash himself. Is Tom Brady washed? Is he done? He's no longer a top 15 quarterback. This guy can't play anymore. If you think he's washed, type Y for yes. If you're like, no, he could still play football at a high level, I want you to type your N for no. Let me just say this. Do I think Tom Brady is washed? No, I do not. Is he a top 10 quarterback? No, he isn't. He still needs a team around him. Now, I will say the last time that the NFL doubted Tom Brady, I'm going to say is back in 2019. And when I say doubted, I mean people question kind of the same thing that we're questioning now. Is he actually still able to carry a team to the playoffs? Can he still win a playoff game? In 2019 with the New England Patriots, his final year there, he had a 60.8% completion percentage, 4,057 yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And then he went to the playoffs in 2019, lost his first game, 20 of 37, 209 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception, right? I mean, this is kind of very similar to what just happened this year with TB12. losing to the Dallas Cowboys. Well, then guess what happened? He leaves New England. He goes to a brand new team, and in 2020, 65.7% completion percentage, 4,633 yards, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But that's not why we're talking about Brady. We're talking about it because he wins Super Bowls. And in that 2020 playoffs, 4 wins, by the way, Super Bowl ring, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1,061 yards. I mean, people have doubted Brady how many times already in his career. And what does he do? He comes back. I will always say that Father Time is undefeated, but the one guy who's always kind of been able to break that myth has been Tom Brady. Today on Twitter, Dov Kleiman, or I'm pretty sure this could be our guy that works downstairs. I've never seen Dov in person. The Raiders believe Tom Brady would consider signing with them if he returns for the 2023 season. The Raiders are one of about 3 teams Brady would consider, according to Jeremy Fowler from ESPN. The Bucs are also not completely out of it. So we're going to continue to look at Tom Brady and talk about him because he's a good quarterback, no doubt about it, right? And you're going to hear a lot about him, I can guarantee you that. Coming up next, though, here on the Raiders Report, Josh Jacobs. Do you franchise tag him? Do you transition tag? Non-exclusive, exclusive. I've been asked a bunch on locals, and I have finally come up with my answer of what the Raiders should do with Jacobs, and it's good because today he tweeted it out, and I'll show you what he tweeted. Before we get into that, though, remember today's show is presented by Magic Spoon. Go to magicspoon.com/chat, and the Raiders Report is sponsored by my favorite cereal, Magic Spoon. Growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid, but I had to give it up because I realized it was full of sugar and junk that you really shouldn't eat. But Magic Spoon is cereal reinvented. I start every day with a bowl of Magic Spoon. It tastes amazing, and honestly, it's too good to be true. Magic Spoon tastes exactly like regular cereal from your childhood, but it's super nutritious with 13 to 14 grams of protein and 0 grams of sugar. Magic Spoon comes in delicious flavors such as cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter, and has only 140 grams per serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. I love Magic Spoon because it tastes great and it's good for you. I'm never going to go back to regular cereal. Start your new year off right with Magic Spoon. Use the QR code that you see on screen, or go to magicspoon.com/chat and use my code chat for $5 off your own personal Magic Spoon variety pack and stay on track for your New Year's resolutions. That's magicspoon.com/chat and or scan the QR code and use code chat. Link's going to be in the comments and in the description of today's video. Magic Spoon is also so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. High protein, low carb, sweet and delicious. I'm telling y'all right now, if you got a sweet tooth like me, go try out Magic Spoon. I promise you're going to love it. magicspoon.com/chat. So let's talk about Josh Jacobs. What the heck are you supposed to do with him? According to Spotrac, a franchise tag is going to be somewhere around $10.1 million. A transition tag would cost the Raiders $8.9 million. And then they project a contract extension for Jacobs somewhere around $12.8 million per year. Obviously, the season that Jacobs had, I mean, if I had a vote for Offensive Player of the Year, he would get it. Led the NFL in rushing first downs. Led the NFL in total yards. The only player this season over 2,000. 12 touchdowns. If the Raiders would have been good, decent, I actually think he would have been in the running for Offensive Player of the Year. Like, that's how great he truly was. Now, personally, I think the Raiders would be dumb, and I'm talking capital D dumb, to give Jacobs the transition tag this offseason. And I know I make fun of McDaniels a lot. Ziegler, though, I do think he does a good job. Giving him the transition tag would be the stupidest thing you possibly could do for the Raiders, and here's why. Transition tags are similar to franchise tag with 2 exceptions. Rather than top 5, transition tags use the average of the top 10 highest paid players at the position and don't provide any guaranteed compensation clause. Unlike the franchise tag, teams are given no promise of an asset at the end of the deal. If a team refuses to match a competing team's offer, therefore losing the player, they do not receive any draft picks in exchange. So basically what that's saying is you can put a transition tag on him, you can pay him $8.9 million, but if another team gives him an offer, he's going to take that, and you're not going to get anything. So the Raiders could technically just give him an extra $1.2 million and assure that you either have him or you're going to get draft picks for him. So the Raiders, they should franchise tag him. I want Jacobs to get paid. He deserves to get paid. And he's probably going to do what's best for him, as he should. But the Raiders also need to do what's best for them. And that's putting him on the franchise tag. But here's the thing. Do you go exclusive or do you go non-exclusive tag? I'm going to tell you both of them here right now. What is the NFL franchise tag? A lot of y'all probably have asked that question before, and here it is. The franchise tag is a designation that allows NFL teams to select one player to be an unrestricted free agent and guarantees another year under contract if certain conditions are met. Each team receives one franchise tag per year and can be applied as either exclusive or non-exclusive. So that's kind of where we're going here, right? Exclusive, non-exclusive, and I'm going to tell you how they differ because there's a lot of this lingo, and I'll be real with you. I sat down, I talked to some of my buddies, I sat down with Tom, and I go, all right, Tom, dumb it down for me a little bit. And don't worry, I'm going to dumb it down for you a little bit more because I needed it to be dumbed down for me. So here we go. How does the exclusive and non-exclusive tag differ? The two biggest differences between an exclusive and non-exclusive franchise tag is incorporation of salary versus cap hit and who holds the negotiating power. A cap hit is similar to the salary, but it takes into account all expenses that go towards a team total salary cap, such as signing bonuses. Additionally, each tag comes with different bargaining rights and guaranteed assets for both the player and team. Aptly named, an exclusive tag gives the team exclusive negotiating rights. Should the player reject the offer, they are unable to sign with another NFL team for that entire season. Meanwhile, a non-exclusive tag allows player to negotiate with other teams. If they receive an offer, their current team has the opportunity to match. If they opt not to match the offer, they're entitled to receive 2 first-round draft picks in exchange. So I know, it's a lot of words, it's a lot of stuff right there, and I totally get it. Here's the, I'm going to call it Mitch dumbed-down version because I needed it as well. If you were to exclusive franchise tag Jacobs, nobody can offer a contract to him. He's going to play at $10.1 million, or he could ask to be traded, and then, sure, the Raiders could end up doing it. The non-exclusive is teams can offer him a contract, but the Raiders can match it, and if they don't match it, they get 2 first-round picks. If Jacobs is franchise tagged, he has to sign that deal by July 15th by 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If that doesn't happen, that's where you start getting into some fines and some other interesting things, and people are starting to worry, oh, crap, is Jacobs going to end up sitting out, which I don't really think that that's going to happen considering the year that he's coming off of, and he probably knows that's not going to be good long-term if I don't end up playing. So my opinion of what the Raiders should do with Josh Jacobs is the Raiders should offer Jacobs the non-exclusive franchise tag. And honestly, this is the more common one outside of players who aren't quarterbacks, right? Because we see QBs a lot of times go for a lot more draft picks. You offer them the exclusive rights. Don't get me wrong. By doing this, yes, you are allowing other teams to be able to talk to Jacobs and potentially offer him a brand new deal. There's a risk there. I want Jacobs to be on the Raiders this upcoming season. Every single person does. But we do have to think about this from a realistic standpoint. If another team were to take on Jacobs' contract and they're like, hey, we're going to give him a contract extension, the Raiders get 2 first-round picks. I want Jacobs on the team, but I personally think you'd be crazy not to want 2 first-round picks for Josh Jacobs. And he tweeted out today, it's got to make sense for me. To me, that just screams he wants a contract extension. He is coming off a career year. He's had 4 really good seasons in the NFL, or 3 seasons in the NFL. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Yeah, 4 good years. I'm going to say my math's all effed up. And he wants to get paid. But we got to be able to sit here and say this. I don't think that Jacobs will want the franchise tag. I don't. He's going to look at some of these other top-paid running backs, and when you look at some of these dudes, he's probably going to want in that $12.8 million range. He might get ballsy enough to try to get up into that top 3 range, which is $15, $16 million a year. I don't think that those contracts are ever going to happen again. But he wants to get paid, and you can't blame him for that. But you also have to understand how the Raiders are operating, and they don't want to pay a running back all that money. So I do think that he gets tagged. I think it's going to be the non-exclusive. And I think he's going to end up being on the Raiders this upcoming season. Coming up next here on the show, NFL mock draft reaction. And this is always draft season. I love looking at different mocks. I will admit, the mock draft I'm about to look at here is Bucky Brooks. I'm not really crazy about his draft analysis, so I figured, you know what? We'll talk about what he did for the Raiders at pick number 7. Yesterday in a video, I challenge the nation. We're doing a chat sports challenge, and right now, the Raiders report is actually in second behind Bears now. So if you go to that video I put out yesterday and comment on it, that would be great. I said this. Whoever comments the most on the video gets a shout out. We had enough people that I thought commented, and I wanted to show some love to the people that showed some love for me. And Carlos47, I see in the live show, he messaged me on Instagram and said, bro, 1,000 comments. So for those of you that don't know, Carlos just absolutely hooked it up. So I want all y'all right now to spam Carlos47 down in the chat because Carlos commented 1,000 times on yesterday's video. On Sunday's show, when I get the show started, back-to-back watch parties, I got to start off that show with a boot, courteous of Carlos. Carlos, I appreciate your support. I appreciate the dedication. And maybe once you turn 21, we can have a boot together. Let's go look at Bucky Brooks' mock draft here. First 6 picks. Will Anderson, Bryce Young, Jalen Carter, C.J. Stroud, Tyree Wilson, Brian Breesy. Those were his top 6 picks, which means the Las Vegas Raiders would be on the clock. And just so you know, the 6th pick there is the Detroit Lions. It's my bad on the graphic. So who would you want the Raiders to draft at pick number 7? You're on the clock. You see that those top 6 picks are gone. Who are you thinking about? Who are you going to go with? I mean, a lot of different options, no doubt about it. For me, I'm going to go with Paris Johnson Jr.
Bonjour.
Oh, my God.
From Paris.
I'm like, why does it say Bonjour on top? Bonjour. But this is the guy that they ended up going with here, who is one of my favorite prospects. And a lot of y'all are typing WTF. Only the real ones are going to know why that says Bonjour. At 6'6", 310 pounds, he is arguably the best offensive tackle prospect. That is if you don't consider Peter Skoronski an offensive tackle prospect. This is what Bucky Brooks had to say. Upgrading the protection around a new franchise quarterback should be part of Josh McDaniels' master plan this offseason. I agree with the idea that if you do plan on bringing in a new franchise QB, one who probably is not going to be all that mobile, a.k.a. Tom Brady, then yeah, you're going to have to end up protecting him, no doubt about it. He is a left tackle. He did play a little bit of left guard, though, also last year for the Buckeyes. He allowed only 2 sacks this season. The issue was he allowed them against the Michigan Wolverines in Georgia, his 2 final games. I will say I love his body control. He is really able to adjust to pass rushers, protect the pocket. A lot of upside, and I do think Carmen Russillo would like him because he's got long arms, 6'6", 310 pounds. Here's my question to you, though. He's a left tackle. Does that mean that the Raiders could potentially move Colt Miller to the right tackle? Miller has done a good job being a left tackle. I think he's one of the top guys in the league, arguably top 10. The last time he played tackle, though, or right tackle, I want to say it was his junior or his second to final season at UCLA. He is athletic enough to do it. I am a believer if it's not broken, don't fix it. But I've also seen McDaniels and Ziegler go with their guys, and if they were to make a pick like this, I think it could mean moving Colt Miller to right tackle. If you want to see more of my top draft prospects, because I see some of y'all are like, wait a minute, why did they go with this guy? He is actually in my video on my top 10 draft prospects, so please go check it out. I have ranked from 1 all the way down to 10. I even sprinkled in a few more top dudes that could be at least honorable mentions that the Raiders could take at number 7. Another reason, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, because lots and lots of videos coming out here on the Raiders Report. Before I wrap this up, we still have a little bit of Raiders news to hit, and unfortunately I don't have all the graphics here because, again, it came in late when Jeremy and I were getting the show ready, and it is from Jeremy Fowler, and Fowler said that NFL teams will keep an eye on Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller this offseason. Fowler noted that teams expect Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler to make changes to their roster, getting their own guys. I started reaching out to some people. A source told me that basically, yes, Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow could be traded, but it would have to be a deal that would be, in quotes, too good to be true. If you're an NFL team, you always got to keep your options open. You got to keep the phone lines going. You also got to be out there making different calls. My source also told me that the player that would be more likely to be moved for the Raiders would actually be Hunter Renfrow and not Darren Waller, because the Raiders believe that Renfrow is a more easily player to be able to be replaced with. Is that right? No. Easily replaceable than Darren Waller. So we'll see if it happens. I don't think that this is likely. It's like rarely, really unlikely. But we also didn't think that we were going to get Devontae Adams, and we got a good deal on that. So if the deal's there, don't be surprised if the Raiders make the move, because as far as McDaniels and Ziegler have shown me, yeah, they're not really afraid to do anything. If you guys haven't already, follow me on Twitter. That's where I keep you guys up to date with news and rumors. And that's all the time we have today for the latest Raiders news.